Hey, sorry you saw that, but hey guys, how's it going? So I thought I would go ahead and do this live because I'm fucking bored and I really have nothing else to do, but I neglected talking about this because, reasons. I've talked to a lot of people about it, NASCAR's new revolutionary format changes, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like them. And I opened this up for a live discussion because I'd like to hear what you think. Also, I'm going to be talking as if I were making an actual video, so here we go. NASCAR announces four major format changes for all three national divisions. Like, that's a big fucking deal. So, basically, before I go through the synopsis of the fucking, article, it was written by Jim Uter. So it's probably Uter. But the article is basically explaining what's going to happen, and basically what's happening is we're using the same format of chase, but now they're going to call it a playoff, which it's not really that big of a deal. It's just like a gripe because it makes less sense to call it a playoff, and I'll get to that right now. Actually, I was about to say I'll get to that in a minute. Why would I get to that in a minute? I'll get to that right now. A playoff is usually something that is done in a game format. The last time I knew, NASCAR wasn't a game. Quite frankly, I thought it was a competition. Like, I thought it was a race. I thought it was, Chase was just a good name. Chase is a better name because you're actually chasing the people in front of you, like, points-wise. So to call it a playoff is weird. Playoffs entail mostly games, so I don't know. But anyway, basically, NASCAR is going to have segmented races for every single race, and I'm not really too against that. They're saying that they're trying to do it to conserve on commercials, and I don't buy that one bit, considering NBC's first year back, they were, trying to use less commercials. Like, the first few races, they were using less commercials, and it was nice, like, you got a pretty good bit of, racing time, but then as time wore on during the 2016 season for more, NBC had a lot of commercials. Fox, I don't remember having that many commercials. Anyhow, they're trying to say that they're using segments to make it to where they'll have breaks during the race, so 10-minute breaks. And basically, I think during that time they're going to use like 5 minutes of it for commercials, which is still practically about the same amount of time as you would use for a commercial anyway, so I don't know how they're going to sit there and act like they're not going to do more commercials. Also, they didn't really specify whether or not after segments end, which we saw a picture of a Pocono segment, which I'm not going to find right now. I'm just going to explain it. It was, Pocono is 400 miles, so every 40 laps, there's two segments. The beginning segment is 40 laps. At the end of the 40-lap segment, points will be awarded to the top 10. So if you finish first at the beginning, or rather the end of the first segment, you get 10 points, and then 10th place gets 1 point. So in between that, you get a specific amount of points. Segment 2, another 40-lap segment at Pocono. That will be another 10 points, as we talked about earlier. And these are going to be actual, like, race points, if I remember right. And then at the end of the race, you're awarded regular points, as if, you actually won the race and all that shit. Like, the points number haven't been changed, which is a good thing, I guess. They're trying to stick to that point system that got them, a tie in the championship in 2011. But now we have something called playoff points, which are virtually, like... I mean, they're kind of stupid at the end of the day because I don't really understand the point. We're still in a win-and-you're-in system as well. So if you win a race, you not only get locked in, but you also get a chase point. I'm going to call it a chase point because I don't like to call it a playoff point. That's fucking stupid. Quit trying to be the NFL, NASCAR. It's just really awkward that we're at this stage of racing where we have to call it a chase or a playoff. Like, stop trying to be the NFL. Stop trying to be the NBA. Like, it's not really working that well. The word chase works. Why? And this is really gonna be like my opinion of the whole entire thing. Why change something that isn't broken? So obviously we're gonna go through the article. So motorsports.com reported supposedly on Sunday, which we already knew by Sunday that was what's going to happen. We were going to have races divided into 3 stages or segments. So first segment, second segment, and then the end of the race. During the breaks, which are expected to last about 10 minutes, so it's expected, we don't know yet, there will be a collaborative effort between NASCAR and TV networks to avoid missing as much on-track action as possible, including pit stops. Which sounds nice, but I really don't think that's what's going to happen. Like, I think there's going to be the same amount of commercials. It's just we're also going to have these breaks. New point system. At the end of each stage, drivers who finish in the top 10 will be awarded 10 points on a scale from 10 points to 1 point, which will be included in their total from the race. At the end of each race, the winner will receive 40 points, while second through 35th positions will be awarded on a 35 to 2 point scale, with all positions 36 or lower being awarded 1 point. Each stage winner will also receive 1 playoff point, and the overall race winner will receive 5 playoff points. Okay, so each stage winner will also receive 1 playoff point. Wait, what? So you get 11 points if you win a stage? So you get 10 for being the leader and then also another... What? No, okay. Okay, no. You get... If you win the race and you lead all the segments, so there's only 2 segments technically that give you extra points, so that's 20. And then you also get 5 playoff points, all of which will be carried into the 10-race NASCAR playoff at the end of the season. Okay. Alright. Fuck. It's like, this is... this is one thing that I don't like about it, is because it's overcomplicating something that shouldn't be overcomplicated. It's trying to make it seem like it's smarter than it actually is. And it's just, like, complicating shit too much. Just say you get 10 fucking points at the end of the race. Don't bring in these playoff points. It's just something that's really unnecessary. Like, I don't really understand it. And I don't want to, quite frankly. But each stage winner will also receive 1 playoff point, and the overall race winner will receive 5 playoff points. So you get 1 playoff point plus the 10. So you get 10 regular points, and then 1 playoff point if you win a segment. So if you win both segments, you get 2 playoff points, and then you also get 20 race points. Okay? So at the end of the race, you can have 62 points. 2 of those being playoff points. Which those 2 playoff points will be carried into the chase, since if you win the race, obviously you get a playoff point. And if you lead a segment, then you get a playoff point. So, technically, at the end of a race, okay, so we just mentioned that 62, so 67 points is a maximum points day. You don't get any points for leading a lap, you don't get any points for leading the most laps, that's gone. Which, I thought that was kind of the incentive, which in a way is a better idea, because if you lead the most laps, then that more or less means you would have led the first and second segment. But no, NASCAR, we have to overcomplicate everything. Fuck it. Championship will no longer be known as the chase, which it's such a minute thing, but that's what really bothers me the most, is because they're trying to be the NFL. It's just really awkward at the end of the day when you see that, and then you're just like, well, what the fuck? But playoff points can be accumulated throughout the season and the playoffs until the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway, when the 4 finalists will simply race for the win, and the highest finisher of the 4 will be the series champion. NASCAR will no longer refer to its 10-race playoff as Chase, a term that was developed in its new playoff unveiled in 2004. Quote, simply put, this will make our great racing even better, NASCAR chairman Brian France said in a statement. Quote, I am proud of the unprecedented collaboration from our industry stakeholders, each of whom had a common goal, strengthening the sport for our fans. Quote, this is an enhancement fully rooted in teamwork, and the result will be an even better product every single week. Maybe. See, this is one thing that I'm gonna get shitted on. More than likely this will be fine. Like, this point system thing won't even really be that big of a deal, because obviously the Final 4 will go into Homestead being the best drivers of the year. Which is nice, because, in 2014, Ryan Newman kind of ran like shit until, the last few laps, and he would somehow get a top 10, and that would just get him into the next round over and over and over again. In 2015, that didn't really happen. Everybody was a little bit more competitive. There was a lot more stuff going on. Ryan Newman still made it somehow. In 2014, there was a lot of other guys that also made it that didn't win a race. Anyhow, that doesn't really matter. The point is, winning races and running up front is going to be more important, which at the end of the day is a good thing, but why overcomplicate everything? I don't understand. Adding the playoff points is what really makes me mad. And not because at the end of the day, they're making it to where, if you did well, you're getting rewarded for doing well. You're not going to necessarily get knocked out of the whatever round you're in, round 8. Brad Keselowski in 2015. I mean, he was really good in 2015. He had a good season. Not as good as Joey Logano, obviously, but he had a pretty good year. And then going into Texas, he had to win the race, and then got passed by Jimmy Johnson, who was already out. And that virtually made him not get in, and every other driver on the track was like, oh man, he's on my Christmas card list. And it's like, okay, well, fuck, I don't know what to tell you. It kind of helps that not happen, because then those just become regular points during the playoff. But it's just really strange that we have to add in this little weird paradigm where they could have just gotten rid of a win in your end system and then just used the 2011 point system, which is what I was hoping for. I really was. I really thought that they were just going to use the point system that they have now and then get rid of the chase, in general. So there wouldn't have been a chase system, which would have been cool. It would reward an actual champion. You know what I mean? And it would give you more of an incentive to run at the front anyway, because you need every point you can get. But then again, if you get enough points, then you can end up like Matt Kenseth in 2003 and just kind of run in the back and save your spots. But this point system will also do that. And let me explain it. So let's say you run at the front the whole race, and then you end up getting a top 5. So let's say you lead 2 segments. That's 20 points. And let me go ahead and go back up, since I'm fucking new with this. At the end of each race, the winner will receive 40 points, while second, blah, blah, blah. Each stage winner will also receive 1 playoff point. So 22 points. Technically 22 points. So you can get 22 points, and then let's say you finish 5th. So you would get 35 points plus the 22. That's a fucking number. I'm fucking tired. I don't know why I can't count. 35 plus 22, fucking 57. So you can have 57 points, right? But if somebody at Daytona were to win the Daytona 500, the most prestigious race of all, and you ran in the back the whole fucking race, and then somehow, let's say you slip by a wreck and you win the 500, you would only get 40 points plus that one playoff point. So you would get 41 versus somebody who finished, fifth, who ran at the front. They would have 57, and you would have, obviously 41. Which at the end of the day, you should have ran at the front, but that's not how racing is. To me, this is just like another weird way to make it to where the point system is going to be completely dependent on having these fucking spectacular runs. Like, if you can have 5 or 6 or 7 spectacular runs like that, like, people like Kevin Harvick, people like Joey Logano are gonna fucking thrive under this chase format. But people like Jimmy Johnson, they're gonna have to be on their fucking toes. You can't just go into the championship rounds now and just expect to get in because, oh, well, I'm in, and now I can really focus and get down to it. It's like, no, you have to fucking do your best all the time, which is fine, but you can get the same exact result out of just using a point system that doesn't require a stupid chase. Like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of this shit is just unnecessary. There's no reason to overcomplicate it so much, in my opinion. And there's not really any reason to make it to where this needs to happen. It just gives me this ugly, gross taste in my mouth that NASCAR is trying their hardest to be, edgy and new, and this is revolutionary, and it's just like, no, it's just kind of stupid. To me, it's just kind of weird. Like, I don't really understand the end game of it other than trying to do something new, and then maybe it falls on its ass, or maybe it's fantastic. It's just another half-baked idea to give you something interesting. Something that will be supreme. It's the Kyle Busch system. I mean, I guess, that would make sense. I mean, if you run at the front a lot of races at the beginning of the season, I mean, you can pad your way through the rounds of whatever. You can have a few mulligans, which is nice, but dude, just get rid of the chase system. You would have the exact same thing. You really would. Or make it to where if you win a fucking race, you get more points like how you used to in the past. We're basically reverting back to having a really complicated point system that doesn't make too much sense. Even though back in the day, it really wasn't that complicated. You would get 5 points for leading a lap, 5 points for leading the most, or 10, or I think it was 5. So that's 10, and then if you won a race, you would get 135 points. Okay, so that's 155. Or, no, 145. Wow, I'm fucking shit at math. What the fuck? I guess it's because I'm tired. But yeah, 145 points. And I think you also got points for qualifying well. I just don't really understand why you would do something that requires so much extra, like, it lacks nuance. You know what I mean? It's just an overcomplicated system for no reason. Like, people, at the end of the day, if you take out all these, like, fucking words that they're using, like playoff points and stuff like that, like, at the end of the day, you can get 67 points. The whole race. The entire race, if you dominate the entire race, lead every lap, every segment, and then you win the race, you can get 67 points at the end of the day. Okay, and then the person behind you would technically get 39 or whatever. Where, depending, let's say if they don't win any of the segments, like they come from the back or something, they don't get any segment points, they would get 39 points, right? So your 67 versus their 39 would be a big deal, but obviously in the middle of that there would be a lot more, like, people. Or did I say 67 that whole time? I meant 57. I'm really tired. You know what I'm saying, though. There's a specific amount of number of points that you get. Some of them lead over to the next part of the season. But one thing that I like about this point system is the fact that they're going to crown a regular season champion. So I don't know if that means that they're going to give them an award at the ceremonies. Are they going to give a speech? If you win the regular season championship and then the Chase championship, is that like 2 trophies, or do you just get the NASCAR champion or something? Or are you gonna get like the regular season champion, also the playoff champion? It's just like, I don't understand why you need to complicate all this. Like IndyCar used to claim 2 champions. They would claim the road course champion and then the oval champion, which made sense because if you ran better on road courses and then you ran poopy on ovals and you still somehow won the IndyCar championship, you would still be called an IndyCar champion, but you also won the road course championship because you were better on road courses, which made sense. There was a good, clear reason why to do that. Otherwise, with this, it doesn't really make any sense to do this, because at the end of the day, it ends up being this point system is really dumb. And that's all I can really say about it. Like, otherwise, my opinion is going to stay the same until I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Until we see racing and then we see how it actually works. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine. And it'll be a fun system. And maybe cool shit will happen. Like, somebody will race really hard to make sure that they get those 10 points versus the 9 points or whatever. Whatever. I don't like the idea in general. Hey, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about Chase Elliott's Hooters? Oh, dude, that scheme is fucking ugly. It's super basic, and then the yellow numbers make it really weird. Like, otherwise, I like how the scheme is if you don't have yellow numbers. But then again, they could have had a better scheme and then also not had yellow numbers. But one thing that is good about it, Hooters came back, which means that Monster Energy is allowing, like, edgy sponsors into the sport again. It's not going to be super kid-friendly, even though it's still, like Brian France was like, oh yeah, I want this to still be, a family-friendly sport, which you can do both of those things at the same time. You can have an edgy sport and a family-friendly sport. Look at DTM. DTM, the German series, like Germany F1. They have, grid girls. So does MotoGP, and they're not, throwing in your face, I want to fuck all these broads, they're not doing that. Motocross also does that with Monster Energy. So it'll be interesting to see if we're going to have Monster Energy girls in a NASCAR event. Are we going to see Hooters girls? Are they going to use that sponsor to do cool shit, like promote certain Hooters girls? Like, if the company wants to mention, like, a certain Hooters girl, are they gonna, like, be like, oh, Chase Elliott has a special Hooters girl with him this weekend at the racetrack. She's being awarded for her good attendance. Like, she's had the longest running attendance in the 5 years that she's been with Hooters, and she get, a fucking huge raise and blah, blah, blah. That'd be cool to see. Yeah, about Monster, I heard that they wouldn't allow other energy drink sponsors. You know anything? No, I don't. But that would be interesting to see, because there's a lot of other energy drink sponsors in NASCAR, like NOS Energy, which I don't think they're going to do that. I don't see why they would. I don't understand why they would. But then again, they're a Coca-Cola family drink, I thought. So really anything Coca-Cola related is probably going to be untouched. So I think NOS is also produced by Coca-Cola, so I think they're going to be fine. In that regard, for like Kyle Busch's NOS sponsor and things like that. And I don't know why they would get rid of other energy drinks. You know, doesn't really seem like something that makes too much sense. Yeah, they're going to have Monster Energy Girls. Nice. So that's going to be interesting. It would be nice to see them go in an edgier product, just to see what they're going to do. Because, I mean, even when they were Winston, right, that was a cigarette sponsor. That was back in the time that they knew cigarettes were still killing people. I mean, they kept that sponsor until 2003. Until they literally could not anymore. Because of, you know, government issues. I don't know. I don't know how it would work out. Like, why would you ban certain energy drink sponsors? But anyway, it would be cool to see them going in an edgier product. Having Hooters Girls and then having Monster Energy Girls. And fuck, if I was a promoter, I would like try to make some sort of battle out of that. Like, it'd be cool to see let's say Kurt Busch. He's obviously going to be sponsored by Monster Energy during the 2017 season. It'd be cool to see him have, like, if he had an altercation with Chase Elliott, like, the next week they could have a promo of, like, Monster Energy Girls and Hooters Girls being like, oh, man, it's your fault. Like, that'd be a cool little promo. Like, there's a lot of avenues that are open. I need to calm down. If they're in now, they're good. No new energy drink companies can come in. What? If they're in now, they're no good new, no good. They're good. No new energy. Corey, what the fuck? I don't even know what you're saying. I get what you're saying though. If they're in now, there's no good new energy drink companies that can come in. I don't know about that. I think they would let Rockstar and NOS stay in and all that shit. I don't understand why they wouldn't, but then again, Sprint did that shit with cellular companies. So, I don't know. Like, if I were Brian France, I'd be like, hey man, I'm a businessman at heart. Like, y'all can't do that. Listen, like, he's not gonna do that, but if it were me, I'd be like, hey, dude, I mean, calm down. you can't do that. But I guess we'll have to see in that regard. What would be interesting would be... I want to see how this point system goes down. I really do, because I don't understand how you can make this work. Like, me as a NASCAR fan, right? Been watching, like, the racing is what I'm more worried about. The point system, the one that they have now sucks, but you could keep that one. Because now I'm used to it. You know what I mean? And more than likely, this one will not be that bad. I just think it's overcomplicated for all the wrong reasons. You can have an overcomplicated point system if it actually means something. But at the end of the day, this doesn't. There's going to be a 3-point spread between each driver in a technicality. Except for the chase points, which are more... they're going to be more spread out. Because obviously, if you win a race, you get 5 playoff points. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the winner receives 40. Okay, and then if you... I need to go through this again. See, this is why it shouldn't be like this. Because you got to keep running it through your head to make sure, how many points can you get? What is the spread? Like, what is the difference? It's too complicated. And not because I have a fucking, like, I'm ignorant. It's just because, like, I don't understand why you need to complicate something that isn't broken. If it ain't broke it, don't try to fix it. You know, that's true in a sense in this situation. Don't try to fix something that isn't broken. NASCAR, the bodies, like the cars, the way that they drove, the downforce was broken. And they actually listened to the people that follow the sport, like the fans, and said, "Oh yeah, we'll get rid of downforce," and they did. They got rid of even more downforce this year. They're changing the Xfinity car. The trucks are awesome. They don't need to be touched, but the Xfinity car, that racing could be a lot better. You know, they're putting a spoiler on that car, which is cool. It's interesting that they're going in the direction of what people want, like racing wise. And I've seen a lot of people say that this new point system is a good thing, and that a lot of people like it, and I can see why you like it. But I can also understand from my position, like, why I think this is stupid. I don't understand why you need to complicate something that doesn't need to be complicated that much. You can give people, like, you can make the spread for the points a little bit wider, like a 6 or 7 point margin. That ends up making a difference. Like, the winner gets, 60 points, and then second gets 40 or 39, and then downward. That would be the same fucking thing, technically. It just less complicated. and that's what I have a problem with there. I can tutor you on the new point system at $50 an hour. Yeah, fuck you. I'm not doing that. Fuck you and your shit, Louise, bastard. But yeah, at the end of the fucking race, you get 40 points. And on a scale from 10 points to 1 point, so you can get 10 points for winning a segment. So there's 2 segments, 20 points. 40 points. Okay, 60. All right, and then you get a point each for each segment that is a chase point. So that's 62 points. And then if you win a race, that's 67. So a maximum point stay is 67 points. And then, like I said earlier, let's imagine that some fucking humongous wreck happens. And the person that finished second only got 39 because, like, whoever finished second in each, segment crashed. So that's 9, 18. So 18 points. So let's say that person finishes 25th. So that's still somewhere around, like, 40. So technically, like, you could finish second if somebody that wrecks, that led, like, a segment, but still finished second in the first and the second, and then finished, like, 23rd or 24th, they could still get more points than you, even though you finished second, but you had to come through the field. So, like, okay, basically, they're trying to emphasize being at the front always, which is nice. That's how competition should be. You should always want to be at the front, but why overcomplicate it? I just don't understand it. I don't understand why it needs to be like that. I don't understand what they said about NASCAR and TV networks working better together. I don't think they're going to do that. They're basically saying that the segments, okay, during the breaks, which are expected to last about 10 minutes, there will be a collaborative effort between NASCAR and TV networks to avoid missing as much on-track action as possible. Excuse me. I think they're doing that just to appease people. I don't think they're going to do that because, let's think about this logically here. If there's going to be a 10-minute break, NASCAR's going to use, like, 3 minutes of it to use highlights and tell you what happened in the first segment versus the second segment and all that shit. So for each break, there's probably going to be, like, 3 minutes of highlights, so that's 6. And then the remaining amount of time, like 7 minutes, they're probably going to use like 4 or 5 of that 7 for obviously, commercials, and then they're going to come back with the cars on the track, is what I can imagine. This is what I would do in this situation. Have the cars on the track. They have 2 minutes to get everybody resituated in the order that they should be. Line them back up. Pull off. Green flag. Maybe if you need to do cautions or pit stops, whatever. That'd be a little bit more than 10. So let's say 13. You have more time for commercial. You can take a commercial, but they're also saying including pit stops. So they want to make sure that they get pit stops in. But one thing that this does kind of ruin is fuel conservation races, which I hate them, but I mean, they're a part of the sport. That's the point of it. If you stop every 40 laps, I mean, you're basically cutting out like a good bit of, pit time. Like, I would adjust the car to have a smaller fuel cell so you could use less fuel. So you have more, pit stops. Like, if they were actually going to make it to where you would have a really long commercial break within the break, so you can get up, go take a piss, go take a shit, eat a sandwich, and then come back with a drink, and then just be like, okay, I'm ready for more NASCAR. That'd be nice, but that's probably not what's going to happen. NASCAR is too corporate. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they were like, oh yeah, dude, you're literally watching a sport that they're literally driving cardboard. They're driving billboards. They're a corporate sport, and I don't understand how they're gonna sit here and say that their stakeholders really wanted them not to have as much commercial time. Also, considering the fact that the Monster Energy contract is $10 million and then $10 million for 2 years, and they can pull out and leave at the end of 2 years, which would leave NASCAR in a rocky fucking state. I'm gonna be honest, because what would happen in 2 years if Monster Energy just kind of decided to leave? So if they did this season and then the next season and then they leave at the end of next season, right? That would be a big fucking deal. Like, that would probably... Would we see more changes like we saw with this shit? Like, I just... There's so many unanswered questions. And that's what really bothers me. So, really, there's no way to... say what's gonna happen yet, because obviously we haven't seen a race yet. Also, I almost forgot the duels. I think I said it earlier, but the duels are gonna have points. So now, not only are you gonna have to worry about keeping your car in one piece, you're also gonna have to worry about that 1 point that you can win from a duel if you won the race, which is a playoff point. A playoff point. You get 1 playoff point. Oh shit, the Charlotte Road Course race, forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that. I don't really care. I would rather them... I would rather them do something not as stupid. Like, as the Charlotte Road Course. I would love to see... Maybe that's what they'll do with the All-Star race. They haven't been talking about the All-Star race a lot. So maybe that's what they'll do with the All-Star race. If that's the case, I'm fine with it. But I would love to see, a better... I don't know. I'd like to see another road course on the schedule that isn't that shit. Oh, fuck, I didn't even see this shit. NASCAR also announced the regular season points leader will be honored, 15 playoff points. Blah, 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 blah. So if you're regular season champion, you get 15 playoff points that don't reset when the playoff starts. In addition, the top 10 drivers in points leading into the playoffs will receive playoff points, with second place receiving 10 playoff points, third place will earn 8, fourth place will earn 7, and so on. All playoff points will carry till the end of round 8. What? What the fuck? Why? Oh, my brain. Oh, okay. Top 10 finishers of each Daytona dual race will also earn points that count towards the total for that event. Okay, so you can technically make 77 points at the end of the Daytona week. Week. Okay. These are enhancements that NASCAR's fans have long sought, and the entire industry has worked hard to develop a better racing format for our fans, said Steve O'Donnell, NASCAR Executive Vice President of Chief Racing Development. Jesus Christ. Can you have a shorter fucking name, dude? That's a too long of a name. This format puts a premium on every victory and every in-race position over the course of a season. Each point can eventually result in winning or losing a championship. That's true, but you could have also done that with a less complicated point system. Okay, so Richard Petty reacts. I didn't even actually read that. But Richard Petty reacts. Quote, since NASCAR started, there's always been change. The world changes, and you have to change with it. This new format just adjusts the current and next generation of fans. It's something to help create more excitement during the races. You have to put on a good race, a good show, where people want to watch at home and enjoy coming to the track. Having 2 additional winning moments is a good step in that direction to keep the drivers competitive and fans excited throughout the racing season. As an owner, I'm fine with it. I have the same rules as everyone else. That's fair. We just have to figure out how to be the best under this format. Dude, I don't know how you be the best under this format. Be unbreakable. I mean, let me go ahead and make a prediction, actually. People this chase... this new format for the chase and also the new point system will help people like Joey Logano, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr., depending on whether or not he can get a lot of wins, like how he did in 2015. That could have been that actually probably could have won him a championship, considering the amount of races that he won. He probably would have been the regular season champion for 2015 or 2014. What year did he win all those super speedway races? 2015? Yeah, I think it was. People that it may hurt depending on the way that you look at it. And I'm going to use people that have been in the chase the past few years. AJ Allmendinger. I almost said Jimmy Johnson. I mean, it could. If Jimmy Johnson has another one of those years where it's kind of rocky in the middle, it could certainly hurt him. So I will put Jimmy Johnson on that list. Denny Hamlin. It'll hurt Denny Hamlin. He's a fan of the point system, but I think it'll hurt him more than anyone, actually. And maybe, depending on whether he's good or not, this will help Daniel Suarez. Because Daniel Suarez is super fucking, what is he? Not competitive. Consistent. Jesus, I knew it was something with a C, like the word cont. Okay, anyway, 3 in 2015 and 3 in 2014 for Junior. Yeah, I knew about the 2014. I just couldn't remember what year it was in my fucking head. But to give you my closing argument, before I get fucking shot whenever this video, the stream ends, and then it goes up to everybody who didn't see the stream. I think that I just don't like it. I just don't like how complicated it is. I just don't like how stingy it is. It's a really stingy point system in that regard because it can technically make or break your year. Like, being lucky is now no longer an option. You have to be consistent more than ever. Qualifying matters more than ever. So if you're a poopy qualifier like people like Brad Keselowski, people like Kevin Harvick, he isn't that great at qualifying. I mean, sometimes he gets a pole here and there, but most of the time he doesn't. If you happen to be somebody who chokes a lot like Kyle Larson, this is going to affect you in many bad ways. I just don't... I just don't know what I like in this situation. I just... It's so early to tell. But I don't know. I have no fucking idea. It could be good and it could be terrible. We'll just have to see, man. We'll just have to see. But otherwise, thank you for coming out to the stream. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.